Yeah, hi everybody, welcome back. We are jumping into our top 4 match right away. This is a match between ScarletSkill and Antonio, and actually we are jumping into team preview right now. The match has begun quite quickly. And together with me, my name is Evan, real quick, and together with me I have a roller coaster first time casting for this tournament, the first ever tournament of Scarlet and Violet. How are you doing,
I'm
Austin?
doing good, Evan. I'm excited to be here. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's jump in. Let's jump in because Scarlett has been like very generously feeding us
hmm
his streams for us to watch a lot of matches from his perspective, and we've been seeing this very crazy team with the Talon Flame,
hmm
the Gengar, and King Gambit really wrecking through a lot of the teams there. We saw him defeat Joey X9 2 rounds ago, and then in the last round also defeating a player called Violet VGC. There was a match between Scarlet and Violet, and now we get to see a
hmm
match between Scarlet and Antonio. And Antonio is rocking that team that's really special with Dondozo and San with this
hmm
focus sash Lycanroc. I'm not sure if you've seen it around.
I've seen a little bit of Lycanroc and Tyranitar. Sand was really one of the big breakout, consistent teams of early Sword and Shield. So I'm not surprised to see people using it, especially with Tyranitar's monster stats. Lycanroc frail, but it's interesting to see what it goes for in these setups here. So we got a Terrestrialize coming right out the bat, potentially King Gambit wanting to change into that Dark Terraform, so it's not 4 times weakness. Lycanroc does carry close combat, so you don't want to take a move like that. The Terra comes out. King Gambit is now just a pure Dark type. Lycanroc just goes for a Rock Slide. Tyranitar goes for the Rock Slide,
Oh
and
my
let's see if
god.
we can get that classic. Yeah, there's a flinch. And the Spirit Break does manage to come through to break any potential focus sashes.
Interesting. So, Antonio opting to go that rock slide route. That's
hmm
totally possible with these two Pokemon. But interesting to see that the King Gambit probably did not go for a sucker punch into the Lycanroc slot, but instead wanted to go for a Steel type move into both of these rock types. And the Tyranitar actually moved first before the King Gambit, which is slightly rare, right? Because King Gambit has a bit of a higher speed stat, if I'm not wrong. So, useful to get that flinch there into this Dark type. King Gambit. If the King Gambit was remained the Dark Steel type, if it did not terrestrialize, maybe it could have taken those rock slides even better. So, and also
Yeah.
Grimmsnarl did not set up a screen. So very interesting choice of moves from both sides. As Antonio actually switches out the Lycanroc on this turn.
Yeah, Lycanroc probably doesn't want to take a sucker punch. The big bad Dondozo comes out. It is that beautiful, shiny white catfish. Sucker punch comes out into the Lycanroc. It fails. Reflect comes out from the Grimmsnarl, wanting to start setting up those defensive screens just in case Grimmsnarl goes down this turn. And another Rock Slide comes out from Tyranitar just for that good chip, but not going to get any flinches this turn.
Yep, and Rock Slide actually missing the King Gambit, so we see the ups and downs of running that move. Gets to do significant damage into the Grimmsnarl. Let's see if the Grimmsnarl goes down to heal. It actually does not, and it's actually one more chip away. We saw the HP stat was 25, and now it's 13, so that was 12 chip damage. Really interesting, and interesting build on the Grimmsnarl, I guess, to make it as bulky as possible. But very nice to see the Dondozo actually come in without the Tatsukiri. Taunt actually comes into the Dondozo on this turn.
Yeah, probably wanting to avoid anything like a sub getting up. Rock Slides are just going to keep coming out from Tyranitar. Finally finish off that Grimmsnarl. Get some more King Gambit. Can we get one more flinch from Tyranitar? And substitute fails. Low kick comes in. That is going to hurt, and it is going to be one-hit knockout on the 4 times fighting weak Tyranitar.
Yep, and Dondozo actually tried to substitute there. Really smart taunt coming out from Scarlet. Totally on point. And the King Gambit importantly does not get flinched and gets the important KO. Both sides kind of trading Pokemon, right? Grimmsnarl goes down, but actually Grimmsnarl really already set up that reflect against a potentially physically offensive Dondozo. So really prepared for the late game here. I think Grimmsnarl has really done its job, so it's okay to go down. And the Antonio brings out Lycanroc on this turn, as we do see the Talonflame as one of the Pokemon in the back for Scarlet.
Yeah, potentially be able to get something like a burn onto the Dondozo. Just kind of neutralize any damage. It is like, regardless of like what you do to neutralize it, it's bulky and it's going to take a while to get. rid of. So let's see exactly what the game plan is to handle this, what like huge monster threat the format is.
Yeah, and also like Talonflame can only get priority moves off of those like flying type moves because the Sand is actually still up. Like Sand actually runs for quite a few turns since these games are so quick and so fast paced. So Lycanroc is still here sitting pretty happy, like ready to dish off another rock slide. But instead switches out and starts to set up this Dondozo combination. Here comes little Tatsugiri. Oh my god, it's the orange.
Ooh, shiny.
Sushi time! Yeah, both are shiny.
Have that delicious snack Dondozo, get a +2 to every single one of your stats. It's still a pretty slow Pokemon, so there's a chance that it's not able to outspeed this Talonflame, but it is going to get the offensive benefits regardless. Sucker Punch comes out. It was into the Lycanroc slot, so it fails. Will-O-Wisp, Talonflame is still faster, which means that Dondozo's physical damage output has been heavily reduced, especially with his Reflect Up. It goes for a liquidation. That Talonflame's pretty frail, but it is not able to pick up the KO, and it's gonna be kind of an uphill battle from here. Like it's gonna be a bit of a slog because Dondozo, while it's not doing as much as it like to be, it's not gonna be going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, we've seen Scarlet's perspective, and his Talonflame today has been surviving a lot of moves. So really interesting. I'm not sure what the I'll go back and check what the HP stat means right here with 154. But you're right on Roller, like the Dondozo can't switch out. That's how the mechanics work, and it just has to stay in here and fight this war of attrition. That Burn's gonna chip itself down. That Sand's gonna chip itself down. I think Sand's running out like maybe this turn, but
probably
I guess it's just
turn, yeah,
I guess it just needs to keep clicking moves. And I think very importantly that King Gambit is not a steel type anymore, so you don't threaten it with the earthquakes anymore as well.
Yeah, another liquidation going to come out into the King Gambit this time. Looks like not enough to KO, but it is getting very, very low. The Katao Cleave's going to come out, do some solid chip into the Dondozo. Sandstorm's gone, so no more Sandstorm chip. With the combination of leftovers and the burn, Dondozo's not going to recover anymore, but it's also not going to go down any lower. Rotom has been positioned on the field for Talonflame, which is good for those electric type moves. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dondozo Terra types into, if anything, to win this game.
Yeah, that's really true, and especially when Antonio has not Terra at all. Interesting to see what that coverage move might be, because one of the move slots has already been taken by Substitute. So yeah, sure enough, the Terra actually comes out. And yeah, I'm curious to see how it can actually make an impact against the Rotom.
It's a dragon.
Wow. So the order up might get stronger.
Is coming out pretty soon, getting the attack boost. Big dark type Sucker Punch coming up. King Gambit knows that it's not long for this world. Order Up is going to come out. Probably want to get the KO into that King Gambit. Finish it off. And now Rotom and Talonflame don't exactly have the best coverage to hit this Dondozo. Potentially just a Thunderbolt for safe damage. But Dondozo's a dragon now, so it resists that.
Yeah, so it really does have something going for it, and I guess that burn just wasn't enough. Very like the Tatsugiri that boosts attack, the orange one, the cute little orange one is the one that is the most common, and I think this shows its power here, where in spite of getting burned, you are now putting yourself in more and more of an advantage, and at the same time, this Terra is so interesting, whereby Rotom's electric attacks does not affect you that much anymore. So yeah, that's one thing you really have to account for when you go up in this meta against something like a Dondozo.
Tailwind comes out from the Talonflame, trying to get the speed advantage back into their side. Rotom goes for a Hydro Pump. Both those moves are resisted now, so just go for the one that does more. Order Up just to finish off that Talonflame, make it a 1 versus 3, because even though Dondozo is the only thing on the screen, Lycanroc is still at half health in the back, and Tatsugiri has yet to take any damage. So to me, it's looking like you can just go for a couple more Order Ups, get some chip into it, and then finish off Rotom with something like a Close Combat or a Draco Meteor, whatever the coverage the last two have.
Yep, so Dondozo's doing Dondozo things. It's now actually at +4 attack, you know, and then it's burn. So I think essentially +2 here. Going for the protect, maybe just scouting what this Rotom might have. Rotom's going
Installing the
for
Tailwind.
that's true. Yeah, Rotom's actually going for Hydro Pump here because Hydro Pump has more base power than Thunderbolt. Although it might miss, but then Scarlet is going all in here. I think if he gets a crit, there could be a chance to get this Dondozo down. That burn is slowly paying dividends here. You know, chipping that Dondozo into range. But like you said, Roller Coaster, there's 2 more mons in the back essentially with this full health Tatsugiri and that Lycanroc that's naturally faster than a Rotom. So this is really an uphill battle for Scarlet. It needs to go back to the drawing board and think of how to approach this Dondozo matchup.
Yeah, Dondozo can be tricky. Like, you know, it didn't like get to the point where it was one hit KOing every single thing on the field, which also that did half. That's a good solid chunk of damage for a burn Dondozo. It wasn't one-shotting everything, but it was getting the damage it needed, it was getting the chip that it needed, and more importantly, it was surviving long enough to where it wasn't being wiped off the field and it was still putting in work. And now, whatever happens, this Dondozo like lives or dies. Rotom still has the Tatsugiri and the Lycanroc to deal with, and I just don't know if it can do it.
Yeah, it seems like Scarlet is throwing in the towel here. He's stalled enough to think of a good game plan for game 2. Let's see how much he can do to come back here. You know, in this early meta for Series 1 in Scarlet and Violet, I really do feel that you always need that pocket answer for this Dondozo, you know, be it a clear smoke, be it a haze, be it a move that maybe can crit through this Dondozo, as we do see like that power of the bulk winning this war of attrition, really surviving, but still slowly but surely chipping back at your opponents and taking key KOs. So yeah, this is how Dondozo works. At least we get to show it here in the top cut.
Yeah, and it's honestly really tricky to figure out because with being able to Terra and change your typing to whatever you want it to be, you can't have a singular Dondozo game plan because they can all vary it in those slightly different ways that make it really difficult. Like my personal answer has been Clear Smog for Dondozo, but they're Terra Steel Dondozos, which means that just doesn't work anymore. Haze is probably the most consistent way to deal with it, but there's only, I think, like maybe 2 or 3 viable Haze options. I think the only thing that comes to mind for me personally is Prankster Murkrow and Sash Gengar. Which like I think those are the best answers to it, but because you not only get rid of the attack boost, you get rid of the bulk, so it's easier to get rid of and it's doing less damage and it's not as big of a problem. You're basically just dealing with one Pokemon on the field, so you can like set up your support and stuff. But stuff like Clear Smog, Spore, they could be Steel, they could be Grass, they could be Dragon, they can boost their stuff with Order Up. It gets really tricky.
Both players are in team preview now, so let's just transition in to check out what they are leading here. Once again, we're looking at ScarletSkill's perspective. Thanks for sharing your feed. And his opponent is Antonio JSC. Personally, I'm not very sure where they are from, but we do know Scarlet, you know, has a very good online presence. He was the 2018 Virginia Regional Champ, so and we've featured a lot of his matches with his really cool team. He actually named it Hack and Slash. It's kind of cool to see. Now we have to find out what his answer for Dondozo is. Literally just earlier today, Dondozo won the Victory Road Tour with 465 players. And it was a Dondozo team with a Torkoal in it. So it might also have been this Dragon Terra here, where you just keep going for order up and then you just resist the moves that the water type was weak to, right? So yeah, let's see. We're jumping straight into game 2 in our top 4 match here. Both players have already earned some money, but we definitely have to go up higher, right? Go big or go home to win more.
Yeah. You want the glory of first place. It's not about just taking something home. You want to take it all home.
Yeah, so same leads from Antonio here. Same leads as well from Scarlet, going with the Grimmsnarl and the King Gambit. Let's see if the Rock Slides come out again, and let's see if we get any more clinches.
Yeah, potentially not going to tear into solo Dark type so that you're not taking neutral damage from the Rock Slides. But hey, man, I'm a big fan of just going for those Rock Slide clinches. You got 2 Pokemon that know Rock Slides, Rock Slide those boys.
So something's different
Sucker
here.
Punch does come out. Close combat this time. That's going to be a clean one-hit KO onto the 4 times fighting weak King Gambit. Potentially Lycanroc just going to go down, though. Something like a Spirit Break, because I didn't see a Prankster move go off from Grimmsnarl. Unless Tyranitar can get a flinch with this Rock Slide here, and it does!
No way, Commentators cursed. Oh, that's such a, that's so sad from this perspective of the screen, actually. Yeah, and we actually reveal another move from Lycanroc. Guys, this Lycanroc set is actually running around on the showdown ladder. You have to be careful of it. It's Focus Sash with Endure, but instead of having Accelerock, maybe you might think, right, it actually has Endure, Endeavor, which brings your opponent down to that 1 HP. Then there's also Rock Slide and Close Combat being a very, very useful move in this meta right now with all these dark types running around. So we did see that full effect there. Close Combat came out, immediately eliminated the King Gambit. One less option, to deal with this team, especially when King Gambit's Steel type attacks are so strong against these rock types. So, man, Scarlet's resources are really getting low. It's so tricky now.
Yeah, and honestly, I see another 4 times weak. This time to rock. Time to go for just another double Rock Slide, if you ask me. I see no reason not to. But we are going to get a terrestrialization this turn. Potentially the Talonflame into something that is not 4 times weak to rock. Just the solo flying, maybe so that you can last a little bit longer, especially with something like a Reflect.
Oh, I know what he's going for. He's going for Priority Brave Bird, which actually is boosted by that.
Oh, that's really smart.
It moves first. Yeah, moves first, takes the Lycanroc out. Could have been an opportunity for the Lycanroc to go for Endure, but it did not. Let's see how bulky this Talonflame is as the Tyranitar is going to move next. Go for that Rock Slide.
Yeah.
Talonflame survived at 3 HP, but it's still going to go down to Sand here. Grimmsnarl finally gets to moves. Gets the important like Spirit Break off, but not enough to take that Tyranitar down. Dang.
Yeah, it may be a little too little too late at this point. Grimmsnarl's super low. Talonflame's gonna go down to the Sand Chip. There's a big scary Dondozo waiting in the back that can turn into a dragon and just finish out this game. There, Scarlet's only got 1 full health thing. Yep, there's the Dondozo. Oh wait, is the Talonflame alive? It's Safety Goggles.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So yeah, Talonflame lives to see another turn. Terrestrializes into the flying type. Very interesting choice, but very importantly boosts that flying type damage. So now it's now or never, right? You kind of have to go into the Dondozo and pray. Like, I guess if it crits, it can do significant amount of chip. I'm not sure if the Talonflame would want to go for Will-O-Wisp on this turn because you're really just running out of resources and running out of time.
Yeah, it seems like kind of a call between do you Tailwind and Spirit Break the Tyranitar while the Dondozo protects, calling it to go for just another Rock Slide to finish it off, or do you Will-O-Wisp expecting the Tatsugiri to come in and the offensive just start?
Well, he actually makes that read, right? Tailwind's coming out, and Spirit Break actually goes into the Tyranitar, outspeeding the Tyranitar so that it does not go for any Rock Slide flinches and eliminates it right away. Interesting that the Antonio did not do that.
And a substitute comes out from Dondozo, which is going to make it really, really rough to kind of pull back from this game. Tatsugiri is in the back, can just come in. You just go for the Talonflame this next turn and see what you have left in the back and see if you need to turn into a dragon or not.
I've personally have not seen this interaction before with Dondozo behind the sub, but still, the fish jumping into the sub instead of the mouse. So it actually works. And there we go. Dondozo is sitting so comfortable. The substitute set getting more and more common. I think it's so effective here. Number one, you don't get status anymore. You can't get burned by this Talonflame. And number two, you just sit so safely behind and you can easily click an attacking move in the next turn. It can easily be that order up into the Talonflame slot just to boost your attack here. And Grimmsnarl, going up against a huge Dondozo, I'm not sure if it is able to go toe-to-toe with that big fish.
Yeah, I don't even know what Talon could possibly go for this turn. If you go for Brave Bird, which is your best chance of breaking the sub, you're just going to go down to the recoil. Potentially, if Dondozo goes for an order up into the Talonflame, then it gets redirected into the Fairy type Grimmsnarl, and you buy yourself another turn that way. But I'm not so sure about this. Reflect does come out from the Grimmsnarl to reduce those physical attacks. Brave Bird does come out trying to get as much damage and potentially break the sub on the Dondozo, which has not terrestrialized yet. It does. It recoil, takes down the Talonflame, and it does not break the substitute, it looks like. I forget what order this interaction happens, but I feel like the substitute would have faded by now if it was going to. And it does go for the liquidation to finish off the Grimmsnarl, not going for the order up, trying to get a little greedy there with a +3. And if Rotom's in the back, I think you just Terra Dragon and spam order ups.
Yeah, this is really tough. So, yeah, just a tough break. It's interesting to see that Scarlet actually chose to lead the same way and go up against the
Actually, Gallade.
Yeah, so it's actually Gallade in the back instead of Rotom. So Gallade does have that quite a few moves that have high crit chance. So that could be one of those ways to bypass Dondozo's defenses. But Gallade is actually known to be quite frail. So Dondozo with that +2 attack. Let's see if its attacks now are enough to go up against this Gallade. You can easily go for that. What do you call it?
Looks like it's just going to be protect this turn to try and stall out that Tailwind. If the Sandstorm is still going to last through the turn, you could potentially break a Focus Sash on the Gallade that you don't know if it's there or not. Even if Gallade is able to get a critical hit, it has to break through the substitute, which just isn't happening. And I don't think it's going to be able to take 2 moves from this Dondozo. Maybe not even the 1.
Yeah, so naturally Dondozo just goes for that stab liquidation. Does not need to Terra into Dragon here. It doesn't serve any purpose. So, Scarlet's actually forfeiting and not wanting to see that. So he kind of knows that his Gallade, we already see in the item preview that it's not Focus Sash, so kind of admitting the fact that Dondozo wins here, unfortunately.
Yeah. It seemed like, Antonio just had a really solid Dondozo matchup here and was able to take advantage of all the things that Dondozo does, because it is honestly a hard thing to play around. And it feels sometimes like if you're using a lot of resources to plan for this one thing that you may not even run into, it just doesn't feel like it's worth it sometimes. And not to say that Scarlet didn't have any game plans at all. There were definitely things that they were doing that was helping them out, but it was just kind of you ran into the Dragon Dondozo when you had a Rotom last, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, that's really tricky, and yeah, I think Scarlet really fought hard to get this far. Just unfortunate to go up against this particular matchup. It might have been a bad matchup for his team that he just so happened to avoid all this while. But this Dondozo plus Sen combination is really picking up. From my end, I watched out for a lot of tournaments around the world, and it actually won a tournament in a grassroots tournament in the Philippines with both the finals teams were the exact same Dondozo Sen team. It was a crazy mirror. I got to watch it live because my friend was the one who streamed it. And it actually also won a tour in Brisbane, a local tour organized by my good friend Phil Nguyen. There were about 32 players, if I'm not wrong. So Dondozo Sen won 32 30 plus player tours back to back on the same weekend. So it is a combination of a team that you cannot underestimate. We're actually going into our championship match right after this. On the opposite end, I just want to give a quick shout out. There's this player called Kyogre SG from China. He is currently undefeated. He's going up against Pagi, whom maybe some of you in chat will know. Pagi is from Italy, and it seems like they are still playing now. So any last words from you, Rolla, before we cut into this break?
Use Dondozo.
Really? No way.
Because it looks cool, but also they're definitely nerfing it next generation of Pokemon. So if you want to have some fun with Dondozo, now's the time to do it. He's not going to be around forever.
Nice. Okay. That could be a hint as to what you're going to use in San Diego. I'm not sure, but all right. So don't go away. We do have this exciting championship match, all for all the money, right, in our next segment. So don't go away after this break.